Chapter 1. Chapter 1. A day like any other. The morning sun filtered through the sheer curtains of the small suburban home, casting a warm glow across the living room. The faint sound of birds chirping outside mingled with the soft hum of the refrigerator, creating a comforting backdrop to the day. In the previous chapter, Mary-Kate had faced a difficult conversation with her boss at the supermarket, leaving her feeling disheartened and questioning her path. Ashley, her ever-optimistic sister, had urged her to find joy in the little things, hinting at the possibility of a fresh start. Now, as the day unfolded, the weight of Mary-Kate's frustrations loomed over her like a storm cloud, threatening to dampen the promise of a new beginning. Mary-Kate stood in front of the bathroom mirror, her fingers brushing through her tousled hair. She sighed, catching a glimpse of her reflection. A tired face framed by dark circles under her eyes. The fluorescent light above flickered, casting an unflattering glare that only amplified her insecurities. She turned away, her heart heavy with the thoughts of her dead-end job, the monotonous routine that had become her life. "Hey, are you ready yet?" Ashley called from the kitchen, her voice bright and cheerful, a stark contrast to Mary-Kate's mood. "Almost," Mary-Kate replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She splashed water on her face, hoping to wash away the remnants of her discontent. As she joined Ashley in the kitchen, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee enveloped her, momentarily lifting her spirits. Ashley was perched on a stool, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, wearing a vibrant yellow sundress that seemed to radiate positivity. She was scrolling through her phone, her fingers dancing over the screen with a practiced ease. "Look at this!" Ashley exclaimed, turning the phone towards Mary-Kate. "There's a new bakery opening up downtown. They're giving away free pastries today." Mary-Kate forced a chuckle, but the sound felt hollow. "Free pastries won't fix my life, Ash." Ashley's expression shifted, her brow furrowing slightly. "I know you're feeling stuck, but you can't let it drag you down. You need to find something that makes you happy. Why not start with a little adventure?" Mary-Kate leaned against the counter, crossing her arms defensively. "An adventure? You mean like going to the supermarket where I work? That's not exactly thrilling." "Exactly," Ashley said, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "You can turn it into a game. Let's see who can find the best snack or the weirdest item. It'll be fun." Mary-Kate opened her mouth to protest but paused, considering her sister's words. Maybe a trip to the supermarket wouldn't be so bad. It was familiar territory, and perhaps she could find a sliver of joy in the mundane. "Fine," she relented, a hint of a smile creeping onto her lips. "But only if you promise to buy me a donut." "Deal." Ashley grinned, her excitement infectious. As they made their way to the car, the sun shone brighter, illuminating the world around them. The neighborhood was alive with the sounds of children laughing, dogs barking, and the distant hum of lawnmowers. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of freshly cut grass mixed with the faint aroma of blooming flowers. It was a day like any other, yet there was a flicker of hope in the air, a promise of something more. The drive to the supermarket was filled with light banter, Ashley's laughter ringing in Mary-Kate's ears like a melody. But as they pulled into the parking lot, the familiar sight of the supermarket loomed ahead, and Mary-Kate's heart sank. The bright fluorescent lights and the bustling crowd felt suffocating, a reminder of the weight she carried. "Okay, let's do this," Ashley said, her enthusiasm unwavering as she hopped out of the car. Mary-Kate followed, her feet dragging slightly as they approached the entrance. Inside, the supermarket was a cacophony of sounds. The beeping of cash registers, the chatter of shoppers, and the clattering of shopping carts. Mary-Kate's stomach twisted at the sight of her coworkers, their faces a mix of familiarity and dread. She spotted Tom, the store manager, his brow furrowed as he barked orders at the stock crew. The memory of their last conversation flooded her mind, and she felt a pang of anxiety. "Hey, are you okay?" Ashley asked, noticing the change in her sister's demeanor. "Yeah, just a little overwhelmed," Mary-Kate admitted, forcing herself to take a step forward. "Let's find those snacks." As they wandered through the aisles, Mary-Kate tried to focus on the task at hand, but her mind kept drifting back to her frustrations. She watched as Ashley picked up a box of colorful cereal, her face lighting up with childlike glee. "Look at this. It's like a rainbow in a box." Mary-Kate chuckled, the sound genuine this time. "You're such a dork." "Yeah, but I'm a happy dork." Ashley shot back, her eyes twinkling. "And you can be one too, you know." Mary-Kate's smile faded slightly as they turned down the snack aisle. The shelves were lined with an array of treats, but none of them sparked joy in her heart. She picked up a bag of chips, staring at the vibrant packaging, but it felt empty in her hands. "I don't know, Ash. I just feel lost." Ashley's expression softened, and she placed a comforting hand on Mary-Kate's shoulder. "It's okay to feel that way. But you have to remember that you're not alone. I'm here for you." Mary-Kate looked into her sister's eyes, searching for the reassurance she desperately needed. "What if I never find my way? What if I'm stuck in this job forever?" "You won't be," Ashley said firmly. "You're too talented and passionate to let this define you. Just take it one step at a time. Maybe start by exploring other options. You could take a class or try something new." Mary-Kate sighed, the weight of her sister's words settling heavily on her heart. "I don't even know what I want to do anymore." "Then let's figure it out together," Ashley suggested, her voice gentle yet insistent. "But first, let's find that donut." With a reluctant smile, Mary-Kate nodded, allowing herself to be swept up in Ashley's enthusiasm once more. They continued down the aisle, the tension between them easing as they joked about the ridiculous snacks they encountered. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of warmth in her chest, a reminder of the bond they shared. As they approached the bakery section, the sweet scent of pastries wafted through the air, enveloping them like a warm hug. Mary-Kate's mouth watered at the sight of the display case filled with donuts, each one more decadent than the last. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The supermarket encounter. Mary-Kate stood in front of the bathroom mirror, her reflection a blend of determination and frustration. The morning light filtered through the window, casting a soft glow on her features, but it did little to brighten her mood. Just moments ago, she had confided in her sister Ashley about her discontent with her job at the supermarket. The endless aisles of cereal and canned beans felt like a prison, and the thought of another day spent stacking shelves made her stomach churn. But Ashley, with her usual optimism, had urged her to find joy in the mundane, suggesting that perhaps a trip to the supermarket could be just what Mary-Kate needed. With a deep breath, she had decided to take that advice, even if it felt like a hollow promise. As she stepped out of the house, the cool air hit her like a splash of cold water, invigorating yet unsettling. She shoved her hands into the pockets of her worn denim jacket, feeling the familiar weight of her phone and a crumpled shopping list. The world outside was alive with the sounds of chirping birds and distant laughter, but all Mary-Kate could hear was the thudding of her heart, a mix of anger and determination propelling her forward. She was tired of feeling stuck, tired of the monotony that had seeped into her life like an unwelcome guest. Today, she would reclaim a piece of herself, even if it meant facing the very place that had become a symbol of her discontent. Meanwhile, inside the supermarket, the atmosphere was a stark contrast to Mary-Kate's inner turmoil. Brad, Paige, and Caitlin were basking in the afterglow of their spontaneous shopping trip. The trio had met by chance in the produce section, their laughter echoing off the polished tiles as they debated the merits of organic versus conventional apples. It had started as a simple conversation, but the chemistry between them had ignited like a spark in dry grass. Now, as they pushed their cart toward the exit, their camaraderie felt electric, a new friendship blossoming amidst the mundane aisles of groceries. "Did you see the look on that lady's face when I picked up the avocado?" Brad chuckled, his brown hair tousled and carefree. "I thought she was going to tackle me for it." Paige, her blonde curls bouncing with each step, laughed. "You should have seen her. I thought she was going to start a bidding war right there in the produce section." Caitlin, the quieter of the three, smiled softly, her green eyes sparkling with amusement. "You guys are ridiculous. But I have to admit, it was pretty entertaining." As they reached the entrance, the automatic doors slid open, releasing a rush of cool air into the warm afternoon. The sun blazed overhead, and for a moment, they stood in the threshold, the world outside beckoning them with its vibrant colors and sounds. Brad turned to his friends, a mischievous glint in his eye. "So, what's next? Ice cream? Or should we just drive around and see where the day takes us?" Before anyone could respond, a figure rushed past them, nearly colliding with Brad. Mary-Kate, her expression a mix of focus and frustration, stumbled slightly as she regained her balance. The sudden encounter sent a jolt of surprise through her, and she looked up, her eyes locking onto Brad's. "Whoa, sorry," she exclaimed, her voice a blend of irritation and embarrassment. "I didn't see you there." Brad's heart skipped a beat. He had been caught off guard by the intensity in her gaze. "No problem," he replied, his voice steady despite the unexpected rush of adrenaline. "Are you okay?" Mary-Kate took a moment to collect herself, brushing a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just in a hurry, I guess." She glanced at the trio, noting the easy camaraderie between them. A pang of envy twisted in her stomach, but she quickly pushed it aside. "I'm just here to pick up a few things." "Looks like you're on a mission," Caitlin chimed in, her tone friendly. "What's on the list?" Mary-Kate hesitated, feeling the weight of their curious gazes. "Just some essentials," she replied, forcing a smile. "You know, the usual." "Essentials can be fun too," Paige said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Like snacks. What's your go-to snack?" Mary-Kate felt a flicker of warmth at the unexpected friendliness. "I'm a sucker for popcorn," she admitted, her voice softening. "Especially the kettle corn kind." "Now you're talking." Brad grinned, his earlier surprise fading into genuine interest. "Kettle corn is the best. We should have a popcorn party sometime." Mary-Kate raised an eyebrow, intrigued yet cautious. "A popcorn party? Sounds interesting." "Definitely interesting," Caitlin agreed, her enthusiasm infectious. "We could make it a movie night too. What do you think?" Mary-Kate felt a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. She had spent so long feeling isolated, trapped in her own world of dissatisfaction. The idea of joining this group, of stepping outside her comfort zone, was both thrilling and terrifying. "I'll think about it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. As the moment hung in the air, the tension shifted. Brad's gaze lingered on Mary-Kate, and for a heartbeat, the world around them faded into a blur. There was something about her. An intensity that drew him in, a spark that ignited a curiosity he couldn't quite place. "Well, if you need any help with those essentials, we're here," he said, his tone light but sincere. Mary-Kate felt her cheeks flush, a warmth spreading through her that had nothing to do with the sun beating down on them. "Thanks, but I think I can manage," she replied, a hint of defiance in her voice. "I've got this." "All right, but the offer stands," Brad said, his smile unwavering. We'll be around. As she turned to leave, Mary-Kate felt a strange sense of connection lingering in the air, a thread woven between them that she couldn't quite understand. She shook her head, trying to dispel the feeling. This was just a chance encounter, she reminded herself. Nothing more. But as she walked through the aisles, her mind replayed the brief interaction. The laughter, the camaraderie. It felt foreign yet enticing. She grabbed a bag of kettle corn, her fingers brushing against the crinkled packaging, and for the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe today wouldn't be so bad after all. As she approached the checkout line, the familiar sounds of beeping scanners and chattering customers enveloped her. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a sterile glow on the scene. Mary-Kate placed her items on the conveyor belt, her thoughts still lingering on Brad and his friends. She couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted within her. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The collision. As Mary-Kate rushed toward the supermarket, her heart pounded in her chest, a chaotic mix of anger and determination fueling her steps. Just moments before, she had confided in her sister Ashley about her frustrations with her dead-end job, the fluorescent lights of the supermarket casting a harsh glow on her dreams. Ashley had urged her to seek joy, to find a spark in the mundane, and now, with every stride, Mary-Kate felt the weight of her sister's encouragement pressing against her shoulders. Little did she know that today would not just be about finding joy. It would be about confronting the very essence of her discontent. Meanwhile, inside the supermarket, Brad, Paige, and Caitlin were basking in the afterglow of their newly forged friendship. Laughter echoed off the polished floors as they shared inside jokes and playful banter, their carts filled with snacks and whimsical items that spoke of carefree days. The air was thick with the scent of fresh produce and baked bread, a comforting aroma that contrasted sharply with the turmoil brewing in Mary-Kate's heart. As the two groups converged at the entrance, the world seemed to slow. Mary-Kate, lost in her thoughts, collided with Brad, the impact sending her grocery list fluttering to the ground like fallen leaves. The moment was chaotic. Carts clattered, and startled gasps filled the air as everyone scrambled to regain their balance. "Whoa. Sorry." Brad exclaimed, his voice a mix of surprise and concern as he steadied himself, his hands instinctively reaching out to catch Mary-Kate's arm. Mary-Kate blinked, momentarily disoriented. She looked up into Brad's warm brown eyes, and for a fleeting second, the anger that had been simmering inside her began to dissipate. "It's fine," she muttered, her voice barely above a whisper as she bent to retrieve her scattered list. Paige and Caitlin exchanged glances, their laughter fading into an awkward silence as they took in the scene. The air was thick with unspoken words, and Mary-Kate could feel the weight of their stares, a mix of curiosity and sympathy. She straightened, clutching the crumpled paper to her chest, and turned to face them fully. "What were you all doing?" she asked, her tone sharper than intended, a defensive wall rising around her heart. "Just shopping," Caitlin replied, her voice bright and cheerful, as if trying to lighten the mood. "We found some great snacks for a movie night." Mary-Kate's gaze flickered to the overflowing cart, filled with colorful bags of chips and candy. The sight twisted something deep within her, a pang of longing for the carefree moments she had once taken for granted. "Sounds fun," she said, forcing a smile that felt foreign on her lips. "Yeah, it is great to hang out with new friends," Paige chimed in, her enthusiasm palpable. "You should join us sometime. We're planning a movie marathon this weekend." The invitation hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Mary-Kate felt a swell of emotion rise within her, a mixture of envy and sadness. She had always been the one to organize movie nights, to bring friends together, but lately, it felt like she was losing her grip on those connections. "I'll think about it," she replied, her voice lacking conviction. As the trio exchanged excited chatter about their plans, Mary-Kate's attention drifted. She felt like an outsider looking in, a shadow in a vibrant world. The laughter and camaraderie of the three friends felt like a stark reminder of her own isolation, and the tears she had been holding back threatened to spill over. Mary-Kate. Ashley's voice broke through her reverie, and she turned to see her sister approaching, concern etched on her face. Are you okay? Mary-Kate opened her mouth to respond, but the words caught in her throat. Instead, she felt the heat of tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. I just need a minute, she managed to say, her voice trembling. Ashley stepped closer, her presence a comforting anchor amidst the chaos. Let's step aside, she suggested gently, guiding Mary-Kate away from the group. They found a quiet corner near the produce section, the vibrant colors of fruits and vegetables surrounding them like a protective barrier. What happened? Ashley asked, her voice soft but insistent. You were doing so well. I don't know, Mary-Kate admitted, her voice breaking. I just feel so lost. Everyone seems to be moving on, making friends, and I'm just stuck in this dead-end job. I don't know how to find joy anymore. Ashley's expression softened, and she reached out to squeeze Mary-Kate's hand. You're not stuck. You're just in a transition. It's okay to feel this way. I've been there too. But it is different for you, Mary-Kate protested, shaking her head. You're always so confident, so sure of yourself. I'm just me. Exactly, Ashley replied, her eyes locking onto Mary-Kate's. You're you, and that's enough. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. Just because they seem happy doesn't mean they don't have their own struggles. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, the warmth of her sister's words wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. I just wish I could find my place again, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. I miss feeling like I belong. As the words hung in the air, a sudden wave of vulnerability washed over her. She had always been the strong one, the one who held everything together, but now she felt like she was unraveling. The tears she had been holding back finally spilled over, and she wiped them away angrily, embarrassed by her own weakness. Hey, Ashley said softly, her voice soothing. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. You're human, and it is okay to not have everything figured out. Mary-Kate nodded, her heart aching with the weight of her sister's understanding. I just don't want to be a burden, she admitted, her voice trembling. I don't want to drag you down with me. You could never be a burden, Ashley replied firmly. We're in this together, remember. You're my sister, and I'll always be here for you, no matter what. The sincerity in Ashley's voice pierced through Mary-Kate's defenses, and she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Maybe she didn't have to face this alone. Maybe there was still a chance to find joy, to reclaim her sense of belonging. As they stood there, the noise of the supermarket faded into the background, and for a moment, it was just the two of them, wrapped in their own world. But the moment was fleeting, and the reality of their surroundings came crashing back as they heard laughter from the other side of the aisle. Mary-Kate turned to see Brad, Paige, and Caitlin still chatting animatedly, their energy infectious. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. A Tale of Betrayal. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the suburban neighborhood. Mary-Kate stood at the entrance of the supermarket, her heart still racing from the unexpected encounter with Brad, Paige, and Caitlin. The laughter and camaraderie she had witnessed felt like a distant echo, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within her. Just moments ago, she had been on the verge of tears, her frustration spilling over as Ashley had shared the story of her betrayal. Mary-Kate, you need to let this go, Ashley had urged, her voice soft yet firm. You can't let one person's actions define your worth. But how could she? The sting of betrayal lingered like a bitter aftertaste, and the weight of her past felt heavier than ever. As they stepped inside, the familiar scent of fresh produce and baked goods enveloped them, a comforting reminder of the countless hours Mary-Kate had spent working here. But today, the supermarket felt different. Tainted by memories of deceit and loss. "Hey, are you okay?" Ashley asked, her brow furrowed with concern. Mary-Kate forced a smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Yeah, just thinking." "About what?" Ashley pressed, her voice gentle but insistent. Mary-Kate hesitated, glancing at the bustling aisles filled with shoppers. "About what you said earlier. About trust." Ashley nodded, sensing the gravity of the moment. "You know, it is not just about what happened with your old friend. It's about how you choose to move forward. You can't let her take away your joy." Before Mary-Kate could respond, Brad, Paige, and Caitlin approached, their laughter ringing out like music. The trio seemed so carefree, so unburdened by the past. Mary-Kate's heart sank as she remembered the betrayal that had shattered her trust in others. "Hey, Mary-Kate," Brad called, his smile brightening the dimming afternoon. "You okay? You looked a bit intense back there." Mary-Kate forced another smile, this one more genuine. "Just a lot on my mind, I guess." Caitlin, with her vibrant red hair and infectious energy, leaned in closer. "You should join us. We're planning a little get-together this weekend. It'll be fun." Mary-Kate's stomach twisted at the thought. Fun. The word felt foreign, like a distant memory. "Thanks, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that." "Come on," Paige chimed in, her voice warm and inviting. "We could use someone with your sense of humor. Plus, it'll be a great distraction." Mary-Kate glanced at Ashley, who gave her an encouraging nod. "Maybe it is time to step out of your comfort zone," Ashley whispered. "Okay, I'll think about it," Mary-Kate replied, her voice barely above a whisper. As the group chatted, Ashley's gaze shifted to Mary-Kate, her expression serious. "You know, I think it is time I told them about what happened. They deserve to understand." Mary-Kate's heart raced. "Are you sure? I don't want to burden anyone with my past." "It's not a burden. It is part of your story," Ashley insisted, her eyes fierce with determination. "And it might help them understand you better." With a deep breath, Ashley turned to the group. "Hey, can I share something with you all? It's about Mary-Kate." The laughter faded, replaced by a palpable tension in the air. Brad, Paige, and Caitlin exchanged glances, their curiosity piqued. "Sure, what's up?" Brad asked, leaning in slightly. Ashley took a moment, her gaze steady on Mary-Kate. Mary-Kate used to work here, and she had a friend. Someone she trusted completely. But that friend betrayed her in a way that changed everything. Mary-Kate felt her heart constrict. She had buried those memories deep, but now they threatened to resurface. Ashley continued, her voice steady. Mary-Kate was accused of stealing from the store, and it turned out that her friend had set her up. She lost her job, her sense of security, and her trust in people. The air grew heavy with silence, the weight of Ashley's words settling over them like a thick fog. Mary-Kate could feel the heat rising in her cheeks, a mix of embarrassment and anger. "Why would someone do that?" Caitlin asked, her voice laced with disbelief. "Jealousy, I guess," Mary-Kate replied, her tone sharper than she intended. "She wanted my job, my life. It was easier for her to tear me down than to build herself up." Brad's expression softened. "That's awful. I can't believe someone would go that far." Mary-Kate shrugged, trying to dismiss the pain that threatened to surface. "It happened. I've moved on." "Have you really?" Ashley challenged gently, her eyes searching Mary-Kate's. You still carry that hurt with you. Mary-Kate opened her mouth to protest but found no words. The truth hung in the air, undeniable and raw. I didn't know, Paige said softly, her voice filled with empathy. I'm so sorry you went through that. Thanks, Mary-Kate replied, her voice barely above a whisper. It's just hard to trust again. Caitlin reached out, placing a comforting hand on Mary-Kate's shoulder. You can trust us. We're not like that. Mary-Kate looked into Caitlin's earnest eyes and felt a flicker of hope. But the shadows of her past loomed large, whispering doubts that threatened to drown her newfound optimism. Trust takes time, Ashley added, her voice soothing. But you don't have to do it alone. We're here for you. The warmth of their support wrapped around Mary-Kate like a comforting blanket, but the fear of betrayal still gnawed at her insides. I appreciate that, really. But it is hard to shake off the past. Maybe you don't have to shake it off completely, Brad suggested, his tone thoughtful. Maybe you can learn from it. Use it to build stronger connections. Mary-Kate considered his words, feeling the tension in her chest begin to ease. I guess that makes sense. But it is scary. Life is scary, Paige said with a small smile. But it is also beautiful. You just have to take the leap. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of determination ignite within her. Perhaps it was time to take that leap, to trust again, even if it felt like stepping into the unknown. As the conversation shifted back to lighter topics, Mary-Kate found herself laughing along with the group, the shadows of her past momentarily forgotten. But deep down, she knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust was a fragile thing, easily shattered and hard to rebuild. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. A dangerous plan. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the suburban streets as Mary-Kate stood in the kitchen, her heart racing with a mix of anger and determination. Just hours earlier, she had collided with Brad, Paige, and Caitlin outside the supermarket, a moment that had unearthed old wounds and stirred a tempest of emotions within her. The laughter of strangers had felt like a taunt, a reminder of the betrayal that had cost her not just her job, but a piece of herself. As Ashley had shared the painful story of Mary-Kate's dismissal, the weight of her sister's words had settled heavily in the air, igniting a spark of revenge that Mary-Kate could no longer ignore. Now, she was ready to confront the clerk who had betrayed her, the very person who had whispered lies that led to her downfall. The thought sent a shiver of exhilaration through her veins, mingling with the dread that had taken root in her heart. She could almost hear the echo of her sister's voice, urging caution, but the fire within her drowned out the warnings. Mary-Kate, are you sure about this? Ashley's voice broke through the haze of her thoughts, laced with concern. She stood at the threshold of the kitchen, arms crossed tightly over her chest, her brow furrowed in worry. What do you think confronting her will accomplish? Mary-Kate turned to face her sister, her jaw set in determination. I need her to know what she did to me. I can't just let it go. She ruined my life, Ash. I have to make her understand. But what if it backfires? Ashley pressed, stepping closer, her eyes wide with fear. You could get in trouble. You could. I don't care. Mary-Kate interrupted, her voice rising. I've lost everything because of her. I'm tired of being the victim. I want her to feel what I felt. The tension in the room thickened, a palpable force that made the air feel electric. Mary-Kate could see the conflict in Ashley's eyes, the way her sister's lips pressed together in a thin line of worry. But Mary-Kate was resolute. She had made up her mind. With a sudden burst of energy, she strode to the kitchen drawer, her fingers trembling slightly as she pulled it open. The metallic glint of a knife caught her eye, and she hesitated for just a moment, the weight of her decision crashing down on her. But the anger surged again, a tidal wave that swept away her doubts. She grabbed the knife, its handle cool against her palm, and turned to face Ashley, who looked horrified. Mary-Kate, put that down. Ashley's voice was sharp, cutting through the tension like a knife itself. This isn't the answer. You're better than this. Better than what? Mary-Kate shot back, her heart pounding in her chest. Better than standing up for myself. Better than making her pay for what she did. I'm done being the good girl, Ash. I'm done being pushed around. Ashley stepped forward, her hands outstretched as if to physically stop her sister. You don't have to do this. You can find another way. We can figure this out together. But Mary-Kate shook her head, the resolve hardening within her. No, I need to do this. For me. The room fell silent, the only sound the soft hum of the refrigerator and the distant chirping of crickets outside. Mary-Kate's heart raced, a wild drumbeat in her chest as she contemplated the path ahead. She could feel the weight of Ashley's gaze, a mixture of fear and disappointment, but she couldn't back down now. Please, just let me do this, Mary-Kate whispered, her voice softer now, almost pleading. I need to confront her. I need to take back my power. Ashley's expression shifted, the worry in her eyes replaced by a flicker of understanding. I get it, I really do. But this isn't the way. You're not a violent person, Mary-Kate. You're better than this. Maybe I'm not, Mary-Kate replied, her voice trembling with emotion. Maybe I've been too good for too long. Maybe it is time I show her who I really am. With that, she turned on her heel and headed for the door, the knife clutched tightly in her hand. The cool metal felt like a lifeline, a way to reclaim the control that had been stripped from her. She could hear Ashley calling after her, but the words faded into the background as she stepped outside, the night air wrapping around her like a shroud. The streets were quiet, the only sound the crunch of gravel beneath her feet as she made her way toward the supermarket. The familiar path felt foreign now, each step heavy with purpose and dread. She could see the flickering lights of the store in the distance, a beacon of her past and the source of her pain. As she approached, memories flooded her mind. Laughter with friends, the smell of fresh produce, the warmth of camaraderie. But those memories were tainted now, overshadowed by betrayal and loss. She gripped the knife tighter, her knuckles white against the handle, and pushed through the automatic doors. Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a sterile glow over the aisles. The store was nearly empty, the late hour keeping most shoppers away. Mary-Kate's heart raced as she scanned the aisles, searching for the clerk who had betrayed her. Just breathe, she whispered to herself, the words barely audible over the hum of the lights. You can do this. But as she moved deeper into the store, doubt began to creep in. What if she was making a mistake? What if confronting the clerk only made things worse? The knife felt heavy in her pocket, a constant reminder of her resolve, but also of the darkness she was stepping into. Finally, she spotted the clerk at the end of the aisle, restocking shelves with a bored expression. The sight of her sent a jolt of anger through Mary-Kate, and she felt the adrenaline surge again. This was it. This was her moment. Hey! She called, her voice echoing in the empty store. The clerk turned, surprise flickering across her face as she recognized Mary-Kate. What do you want? The clerk asked, her tone defensive, as if she sensed the storm brewing. Mary-Kate stepped closer, her heart pounding in her chest. I want to talk to you. About what you did. The clerk's expression hardened, and she crossed her arms. I don't have time for this. I didn't do anything wrong. Really? Mary-Kate shot back, her voice rising. You think lying to my boss and getting me fired is nothing? You think that's okay? The clerk rolled her eyes, a dismissive gesture that ignited the fire within Mary-Kate. You were a terrible employee. You brought it on yourself. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. The Chase. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the asphalt of the supermarket parking lot. Mary Kate's heart raced, fueled by a cocktail of anger and determination. Just moments ago, she had been in the kitchen, knife in hand, contemplating a confrontation that felt both terrifying and necessary. Ashley's voice echoed in her mind, a mix of concern and frustration, urging her to reconsider. But the betrayal had cut deeper than any blade, and the thought of facing the clerk who had wronged her was now an obsession she couldn't shake. As she stormed out of the house, Ashley had been right on her heels, her breath coming in quick bursts as she called out, "Mary Kate. Wait." The urgency in her sister's voice pulled at Mary Kate's resolve, but she pressed on, her mind set on revenge. The supermarket loomed ahead, a fortress of fluorescent lights and familiar aisles, but for Mary Kate, it was a battleground. "Mary Kate, please." Ashley's voice broke through the haze of her thoughts as she finally caught up, grabbing her sister's arm. "You can't just go in there with a knife. What do you think will happen?" Mary Kate yanked her arm free, her frustration boiling over. "What do you want me to do, Ashley? Just let it go. Let her get away with ruining my life." Her voice was sharp, slicing through the air like the knife she had left behind. Ashley's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and disbelief. "It's not just about her. It's about you. You'll regret this. Revenge isn't the answer. It'll only make things worse." Mary Kate shook her head, her chest tightening with a mix of anger and hurt. "You don't understand. She took everything from me. My job, my confidence. I can't just walk away." The parking lot was alive with the sounds of distant laughter and the hum of engines, but all Mary Kate could hear was the pounding of her own heart. She glanced toward the entrance of the supermarket, the automatic doors sliding open and closed, oblivious to the turmoil brewing within her. "Think about it, Mary Kate," Ashley pressed, her voice softer now, almost pleading. "What if you confront her and it doesn't go the way you want? What if it makes things worse? You could get in trouble. You could get my job back." Mary Kate interrupted, her voice rising again. "I don't care about the consequences. I just want her to know what she did to me. I want her to feel it." Ashley's expression shifted from fear to frustration. "And what about me? What about our friendship? You're willing to risk everything for this. You're not just hurting her. You're hurting us." Mary Kate felt a pang of guilt at her sister's words, but it was quickly overshadowed by her anger. "You don't get to decide what I do, Ashley. You don't know what it is like to be betrayed like this." Ashley stepped closer, her voice low and steady. "You're right. I don't know exactly what you're feeling. But I do know that revenge will only lead to more pain. You're better than this." For a moment, Mary Kate hesitated, the weight of Ashley's words pressing down on her. But the image of the clerk's smug face, the way she had laughed as Mary Kate was escorted out of the store, ignited a fire within her. "I have to do this," she said, her voice firm. "I can't just let it go." With that, she turned and marched toward the supermarket in trance, her heart pounding in her chest. Ashley followed, her footsteps echoing the tension that hung between them. The automatic doors slid open, and the familiar scent of fresh produce and cleaning supplies washed over Mary Kate, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside her. Inside, the supermarket was bustling with life. Shoppers moved through the aisles, pushing carts filled with groceries, their laughter and chatter creating a backdrop of normalcy that felt foreign to Mary Kate. She felt like an intruder in a world that had moved on without her. "Mary Kate, wait," Ashley called, her voice strained as she struggled to keep up. "Let's just talk about this for a second." Mary Kate ignored her, her eyes scanning the aisles for the clerk. She spotted her at the customer service desk, her back turned, oblivious to the storm brewing behind her. The sight of her sent a jolt of adrenaline through Mary-Kate, and she felt her resolve harden. Mary-Kate, please. Ashley's voice was desperate now, but Mary-Kate was beyond reasoning. She pushed through the crowd, her focus narrowing to the figure at the desk. As she approached, the clerk turned, her expression shifting from boredom to surprise as she recognized Mary-Kate. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her tone dripping with disdain. Mary-Kate's heart raced, a mix of fear and fury coursing through her veins. "You think you can just get away with what you did?" she spat, her voice low but fierce. The clerk's eyes widened, and for a moment, Mary-Kate saw a flicker of fear. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her bravado faltering. "Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about," Mary-Kate shot back, stepping closer, her fists clenched at her sides. "You lied about me. You made sure I lost my job. You think you can just walk away from that?" The clerk straightened, her expression hardening. "You're being ridiculous. You were a terrible employee. I was just doing my job." "Doing your job?" Mary-Kate laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the busy store. "You were sabotaging me. You wanted me gone, and you got your wish." The clerk opened her mouth to respond, but before she could speak, Ashley stepped in, her voice calm but firm. "Mary-Kate, this isn't helping. Let's just walk away." Mary-Kate shot her a glare, but the pleading look in Ashley's eyes gave her pause. She felt the tension in the air, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. But the anger still burned bright, and she couldn't let it go. "Why did you do it?" Mary-Kate demanded, her voice trembling with emotion. "What did I ever do to you?" The clerk hesitated, her bravado slipping. "You were a threat. You were better than me. I couldn't let you take my place." Mary-Kate's heart sank at the admission. "So you decided to ruin my life instead." The clerk's expression softened for a brief moment, and Mary-Kate caught a glimpse of vulnerability beneath the surface. "I didn't think it would go this far," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of empathy, but it was quickly extinguished by the anger that had fueled her. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. Confrontation at the supermarket. The fluorescent lights of the supermarket buzzed overhead, casting a sterile glow that felt both familiar and suffocating. Mary-Kate's heart raced as she navigated the aisles, her mind a whirlwind of anger and determination. Just moments ago, she had been standing in the parking lot, her sister Ashley's worried voice echoing in her ears, urging her to reconsider her reckless plan. But the betrayal she had endured was a wound that refused to heal, and she was done being the victim. Today, she would confront the clerk who had wronged her. As she approached the checkout area, the scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the air, mingling with the sharp tang of cleaning supplies. It was a stark reminder of the life she once loved. The life that had been ripped away from her by a single act of treachery. The supermarket, once a sanctuary, now felt like a battleground. Meanwhile, at the entrance, Brad, Paige, and Caitlin were still basking in the afterglow of their spontaneous friendship. They laughed and joked, oblivious to the storm brewing just a few aisles away. Brad's easy charm and Caitlin's infectious laughter created a bubble of warmth that contrasted sharply with Mary-Kate's icy resolve. Paige, with her bright eyes and quick wit, was animatedly recounting their shopping adventures, her voice rising above the ambient noise of the store. "Did you see the look on that lady's face when we snagged the last box of those cookies?" Paige exclaimed, her laughter ringing like a bell. "I thought she was going to cry." Caitlin giggled, nudging Brad playfully. "You should have seen him. He practically dove for those cookies like they were the last lifeboat on the Titanic." Brad grinned, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "What can I say? I have a weakness for cookies." But I think we should celebrate our new friendship with something a little more adventurous next time. As they continued to banter, Mary Kate's focus narrowed. She spotted the clerk, Tina, standing behind the register, her expression a mix of boredom and indifference. The sight of her sent a jolt of adrenaline through Mary Kate's veins. This was it. The moment she had been waiting for. The confrontation that would either set her free or plunge her deeper into despair. Mary Kate, wait. Ashley's voice broke through the haze of her thoughts, but it was too late. Mary Kate was already moving, her feet carrying her forward as if guided by an unseen force. She could feel the weight of Ashley's gaze on her back, a mixture of concern and fear. Just breathe, she whispered to herself, her heart pounding in her chest. You can do this. But just as she reached the checkout, the world around her shifted. Brad, Paige, and Caitlin, still lost in their laughter, turned to leave the store, their path colliding with Mary Kate's. The moment felt surreal, as if time had slowed down. She stumbled, her resolve faltering as she collided with Brad, who instinctively reached out to steady her. Whoa, careful there, he said, his voice warm and inviting, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside her. Mary Kate's breath caught in her throat as she looked up into his eyes. They were a deep shade of blue, filled with a kindness that momentarily disarmed her. I'm fine, she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. Are you sure? You look a little tense, he replied, concern etching his features. Before she could respond, Paige chimed in, Hey, aren't you the girl from the supermarket? The one who? Paige. Caitlin interrupted, her eyes wide as she realized the tension in the air. Let's not bring that up right now. Mary Kate felt the heat rise in her cheeks, a mix of embarrassment and anger. It's fine, she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I'm just here to shop. Right, Brad said, his gaze lingering on her, as if trying to read the unspoken words swirling in her mind. Well, if you need anything, we're just over there. He gestured toward the produce section, but Mary Kate barely registered it. Her focus was solely on Tina, who was now watching the scene unfold with a raised eyebrow. Mary Kate. Ashley's voice was soft but firm, pulling her back from the edge of her thoughts. Are you sure about this? The question hung in the air, heavy with unspoken fears and doubts. Mary Kate's heart raced as she glanced at her sister, who stood a few steps behind her, worry etched across her face. I have to do this, Ash, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. I can't let her get away with what she did. Ashley opened her mouth to argue, but the moment was interrupted by a loud crash from the aisle behind them. A display of cereal boxes toppled over, sending colorful boxes scattering across the floor. The noise startled everyone, drawing the attention of shoppers nearby. In the chaos, Mary Kate seized the opportunity to step forward, her resolve hardening once more. Excuse me, she said, her voice cutting through the noise as she approached Tina. The clerk looked up, her expression shifting from boredom to annoyance. What do you want? Tina snapped, her tone sharp as she crossed her arms. Mary Kate's heart raced, but she stood her ground. I want to talk about what happened. You know what I mean. Tina's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, the air between them crackled with tension. I don't have time for this, she replied dismissively, glancing at the line of customers forming behind her. Too bad, Mary Kate shot back, her anger flaring. You don't get to just walk away from what you did to me. The words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of their shared history. A flicker of recognition crossed Tina's face, but she quickly masked it with a sneer. You think you can just come in here and make demands? You're nothing but a disgraced ex-employee. The words stung, and Mary Kate felt the heat of humiliation wash over her. But beneath the hurt, a fire ignited. I'm not here to beg for your forgiveness, she said, her voice rising. I'm here to make you understand the consequences of your actions. Tina scoffed, her posture rigid. You think you're the victim here. You brought this on yourself. You were always too sensitive, too emotional. It's no wonder you got fired. The words cut deep, and for a moment, Mary-Kate felt the ground shift beneath her. But she couldn't let Tina see her falter. You don't know anything about me, she said, her voice trembling with suppressed rage. You don't get to define my worth. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. A moment of truth. The fluorescent lights of the supermarket flickered overhead, casting a sterile glow over the aisles filled with colorful products. Mary-Kate stood frozen at the entrance, her heart racing as she processed the chaotic scene unfolding before her. Just moments ago, she had been on the brink of confronting the clerk who had betrayed her, a knife clutched tightly in her hand, her mind swirling with thoughts of revenge. But now, as she caught sight of Brad, Paige, and Caitlin, her sister Ashley's new friends, laughter echoed around her, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside. Ashley, standing beside her, glanced at Mary-Kate, her expression a mixture of concern and hope. Maybe this is a sign, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the chatter of shoppers. Look at them. They're happy. You don't have to do this. Mary-Kate's gaze flickered between her sister and the trio at the entrance. Brad's easy smile, Paige's infectious laughter, and Caitlin's playful nudges felt like a warm embrace, a stark reminder of the camaraderie she had lost. The knife felt heavy in her pocket, a weight that suddenly seemed more burdensome than empowering. But they don't know what she did to me, Mary-Kate replied, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and uncertainty. They don't understand. Maybe they don't need to, Ashley urged, her eyes pleading. What if you told them how you feel instead? You don't have to seek revenge to find closure. Mary-Kate's heart raced as she considered her sister's words. The thought of sharing her pain, of exposing her vulnerability, felt terrifying. But as she watched the trio, she felt a flicker of something she hadn't experienced in a long time. Hope. Perhaps there was a way to reclaim her narrative without resorting to darkness. Taking a deep breath, Mary-Kate stepped forward, her resolve wavering. Okay, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. But if this goes wrong, I'm blaming you. Ashley chuckled softly, relief washing over her features. Deal. As they approached the group, Mary-Kate's heart pounded in her chest. The laughter faded as Brad noticed them, his smile widening. Hey. You made it. He called, his voice warm and inviting. Yeah, we just ran into each other, Ashley replied, her tone light, but Mary-Kate could sense the underlying tension. Are you okay? Caitlin asked, her brow furrowing with concern as she caught sight of Mary-Kate's pale face. Mary-Kate hesitated, the words caught in her throat. I've been better, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Mary-Kate. Brad interrupted, his tone shifting to something more serious. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. We're just glad you're here. The sincerity in his voice struck a chord within her. She felt the warmth of their friendship enveloping her, and for the first time in a long while, she didn't feel alone. I've been struggling, she finally confessed, her voice trembling. I lost my job because of someone I thought was my friend. I thought confronting her would help me feel better, but now, I don't know. Paige stepped closer, her expression softening. That sounds really tough. It's okay to feel angry. But you don't have to face it alone. We're here for you. Mary-Kate's heart swelled at the unexpected support. I just don't know how to move on, she admitted, her voice cracking. I feel so betrayed. Caitlin nodded, her eyes filled with empathy. I get that. I've had my fair share of betrayals too. It hurts, but holding on to that anger can be more damaging than the betrayal itself. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of understanding pass between them. How did you deal with it? She asked, her curiosity piqued. Caitlin took a deep breath, her gaze drifting to the floor. I had to learn to forgive. Not for them, but for myself. It's hard, but it is freeing. Mary-Kate considered this, the weight of her anger feeling slightly lighter. Forgiveness feels impossible right now, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Maybe it starts with understanding, Ashley suggested gently. Understanding why they did what they did, even if it doesn't excuse their actions. Mary-Kate looked at her sister, the warmth of their bond grounding her. You're right, she said slowly. I've been so focused on my pain that I haven't thought about theirs. Brad stepped forward, his expression earnest. You're not alone in this. We all have our battles. But we can face them together. The sincerity in his voice sent a shiver down Mary-Kate's spine. She felt a connection forming, a bond that transcended the pain she had been carrying. Thank you, she said, her voice thick with emotion. I didn't expect to find support here today. Sometimes, the best friendships come from the most unexpected places, Paige said, her smile brightening the atmosphere. We're all in this together. As they stood in a circle, the tension began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of camaraderie. Mary-Kate felt a warmth spreading through her chest, a flicker of hope igniting within her. Perhaps this was the moment she had been waiting for. A chance to redefine her narrative, to choose healing over revenge. But just as she began to feel a sense of peace, the door swung open, and a familiar figure stepped inside. Mary-Kate's heart dropped as she recognized the clerk from the supermarket. The very person who had betrayed her. The air grew thick with tension as the clerk scanned the store, her eyes landing on Mary-Kate. For a moment, time stood still. Mary-Kate's breath hitched in her throat, and she felt the old anger bubbling to the surface. The knife in her pocket felt like a reminder of her past, a temptation to revert to the darkness she had been trying to escape. Mary-Kate. Ashley's voice broke through her thoughts, concern etched on her face. Are you okay? Mary-Kate's heart raced as she fought to regain her composure. I need a moment, she said, her voice shaky. Let's step outside, Brad suggested, his tone calm and reassuring. You don't have to face her alone. As they moved toward the exit, Mary-Kate's mind raced. She could feel the weight of her past pressing down on her, the anger threatening to consume her once more. But as she glanced back at her new friends, their unwavering support reminded her that she didn't have to face this battle alone. Outside, the cool air hit her like a splash of cold water, grounding her. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart. I don't know what to do, she admitted, her voice trembling. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. New Beginnings. The fluorescent lights of the supermarket flickered overhead, casting a sterile glow on the aisles filled with colorful products. Mary-Kate stood at the entrance, her heart still racing from the emotional whirlwind of the past few moments. Just moments ago, she had been on the brink of confronting the clerk who had betrayed her, a confrontation fueled by anger and hurt. But the unexpected collision with Brad, Paige, and Caitlin had shifted her perspective. Instead of revenge, she found herself surrounded by new friends who offered support and understanding. Are you okay? Brad's voice cut through her thoughts, his brow furrowed with concern. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her anger begin to lift. Yeah, I think so, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe it is time to let go of the past, Paige suggested gently, her eyes warm and inviting. You've got a fresh start right here. Mary-Kate glanced around at the group, their faces filled with encouragement. Caitlin, with her vibrant red hair and infectious laughter, leaned in closer. You know, I've always believed that every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. Like, what if you turned this whole situation into something positive? Like a superhero origin story. Brad chimed in, a playful grin spreading across his face. You could be Mary-Kate the Avenger, fighting against supermarket injustices. Mary-Kate couldn't help but laugh, the tension in her shoulders easing. I don't think I'm cut out for that kind of heroism. Why not? Caitlin nudged her playfully. You've already faced your own villain. You just need to find your superpower. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Maybe they were right. Maybe it was time to let go of the anger that had consumed her for so long. Okay, let's do this, she said, her voice gaining strength. Let's talk about our dreams. The group settled onto a nearby bench, the hustle and bustle of the supermarket fading into the background. Mary-Kate felt a sense of camaraderie blossoming among them, a bond forged in shared experiences and laughter. So, what's your dream, Mary-Kate? Paige asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Mary-Kate hesitated, the weight of her past still lingering. I've always wanted to be a writer, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. But I never thought I was good enough. Are you kidding? Caitlin exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. You should totally go for it. What do you want to write about? I don't know, Mary-Kate admitted, her cheeks flushing. I guess I want to write stories that matter, stories that help people feel less alone. That's beautiful, Brad said, his tone sincere. You have a gift, Mary-Kate. You just need to believe in yourself. Mary-Kate felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words. Thanks, Brad. That means a lot. What about you, Caitlin? Ashley interjected, eager to keep the momentum going. What's your dream? Caitlin grinned, her eyes sparkling with mischief. I want to be a professional dog trainer. I've always loved animals, and I think it would be amazing to help them find their forever homes. That's awesome. Paige exclaimed. You'd be like a dog whisperer. Exactly. Caitlin laughed, her enthusiasm infectious. And I'd get to hang out with puppies all day. What's not to love? Brad leaned back, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I love telling stories through visuals, capturing moments that can make people feel something. Wow, that's incredible, Mary-Kate said, genuinely impressed. What kind of films do you want to make? Anything that challenges the norm, Brad replied, his passion evident. I want to create films that spark conversations, that make people think. The group fell into a comfortable rhythm, sharing their dreams and aspirations, each story weaving a tapestry of hope and possibility. As they spoke, Mary-Kate felt the heaviness of her past begin to fade, replaced by a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in a long time. Okay, Caitlin said, her eyes twinkling with mischief. But let's get real for a second. Mary-Kate, have you ever dreamed of being on a wanted poster? The laughter that erupted was infectious, and Mary-Kate felt her heart lighten. I can't say that I have, she replied, a smile breaking across her face. But if I did, I'd want it to be for something epic, like saving a cat from a tree or something. Or for stealing all the best snacks from the supermarket. Ashley added, her laughter ringing out like music. Now that's a crime I could get behind, Brad said, grinning. I'd be your accomplice. As the laughter subsided, Mary-Kate felt a sense of warmth enveloping her, a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. It was as if the weight of her past was finally lifting, replaced by the promise of new beginnings. But just as the atmosphere began to settle, a shadow flickered across Mary-Kate's mind. The clerk. The betrayal. The anger that had once consumed her. She glanced at Ashley, who was watching her with a knowing expression. Are you okay? Ashley asked softly, concern etched on her face. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, the laughter fading into the background. I don't want to forget what happened. I don't want to let it go completely. Of course not, Ashley replied, her voice steady. But you don't have to let it define you either. You can learn from it and move forward. Mary-Kate nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of her past. I just don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be consumed by anger. You're not, Brad said, his tone reassuring. You're here with us now, and that's what matters. You're choosing to move forward. The group fell silent for a moment, the weight of their shared experiences hanging in the air. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of hope ignite within her, a sense of possibility that she hadn't felt in a long time. Okay, she said finally, her voice steady. I'm ready for a new beginning. As they sat together, the world around them faded into the background, leaving only the warmth of their friendship and the promise of what lay ahead. Mary-Kate felt a sense of peace wash over her, a feeling that she was finally ready to embrace the future. But just as she began to relax, a familiar figure appeared at the entrance of the supermarket. The clerk. The one who had betrayed her. Mary-Kate's heart raced, her breath catching in her throat. Chapter 10. Chapter 10. The Power of Friendship. As the automatic doors of the supermarket slid shut behind them, Mary-Kate felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The chaos of the past few hours. The confrontation with the clerk, the unexpected camaraderie with Brad, Paige, and Caitlin had transformed her anger into something lighter, something almost hopeful. She glanced at Ashley, who wore a proud smile, and then at her new friends, who were animatedly discussing their next adventure. The sun shone brightly overhead, casting a warm glow over the parking lot, and for the first time in a long while, Mary-Kate felt a flicker of joy. Okay, so what's next? Caitlin asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I mean, we can't just leave it at a supermarket run. We need a real adventure. Mary-Kate chuckled, her heart swelling with gratitude for the unexpected bond they had formed. I'm not sure what kind of adventure we can have in this town, she replied, glancing at Ashley, who nodded encouragingly. Why not go to the park? Brad suggested, his voice bright and inviting. There's a great spot by the lake where we can hang out. We could even have a picnic. A picnic sounds perfect. Paige chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. I can bring snacks. I make the best brownies. Brownies. Mary-Kate's mouth watered at the thought. Count me in. As they walked toward the parking lot, the group fell into a comfortable rhythm, their laughter mingling with the sounds of the bustling suburban afternoon. Mary-Kate felt a sense of belonging she hadn't experienced in years. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring them together at that moment, and she couldn't help but feel grateful for the twist of fate that had led her to this new friendship. Once they reached their cars, the group exchanged numbers, promising to keep in touch. Mary-Kate felt a flutter of excitement as she saved Caitlin's contact information, her heart racing at the thought of future adventures. As they piled into their respective vehicles, Ashley leaned over and whispered, I'm really proud of you, Kate. You handled everything so well. Mary-Kate smiled, her heart swelling with affection for her sister. Thanks, Ash. I couldn't have done it without you. The drive to the park was filled with light banter and playful teasing, the air thick with the scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut grass. Mary-Kate felt the tension of the past few weeks dissipate with every mile. She was finally ready to embrace the possibilities that lay ahead. When they arrived at the park, the sun hung high in the sky, casting dappled shadows through the trees. The lake shimmered like 1,000 diamonds, and the sound of laughter and splashing water filled the air. Mary-Kate felt a rush of exhilaration as they set up their picnic blanket near the water's edge. "Okay, who's ready for some brownies?" Paige announced, pulling a Tupperware container from her bag. The aroma wafted through the air, rich and chocolatey, and Mary-Kate's stomach growled in response. "I am," Caitlin exclaimed, reaching for a brownie before Paige could even set the container down. "These better be as good as you say they are." As they dug into the treats, the conversation flowed easily. They shared stories about their lives, their dreams, and the challenges they faced. Mary-Kate found herself opening up about her job at the supermarket, her frustrations, and her desire to find something more fulfilling. "I just feel stuck, you know," she confessed, her voice tinged with vulnerability. "I want to do something that makes me happy, but I don't even know where to start." Brad nodded, his expression serious. "I get that. I've been feeling the same way about my art. I love painting, but I've been too scared to show anyone. What if they don't like it? Or what if they do?" Caitlin chimed in, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "You could be the next Picasso. Or the next Van Gogh," Paige added with a grin. "Minus the ear thing, of course." The group erupted into laughter, and for a moment, the weight of their insecurities lifted. Mary-Kate felt a sense of camaraderie that she hadn't realized she craved. They were all in this together, navigating the uncertainties of life and supporting one another along the way. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the park, the conversation turned more serious. "What about you, Ashley?" Caitlin asked, her tone curious. "What do you want to do?" Ashley hesitated, her gaze drifting to the lake. "I've always wanted to be a writer," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I've never had the courage to pursue it." "Why not?" Mary-Kate asked, her heart aching for her sister. "You're so talented. You should go for it." Ashley shrugged, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "I guess I've always been afraid of failing. What if no one wants to read what I write?" "Who cares?" Brad said, his voice firm. "You have to write for yourself first. If you love it, that's what matters." Mary-Kate watched as Ashley's expression shifted, a flicker of determination igniting in her eyes. "You're right," she said slowly. "Maybe I should just start writing again, even if it is just for me." The group nodded in agreement, their support palpable. In that moment, Mary-Kate realized how powerful friendship could be. They were all facing their fears together, and it felt like they were building something beautiful. A foundation of trust and encouragement. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Mary-Kate felt a surge of gratitude for her new friends. They had turned a day that had begun with frustration and anger into one filled with laughter, understanding, and hope. "Okay, let's make a pact," Caitlin said, her voice bright with enthusiasm. "No matter what happens, we support each other in our dreams." "Deal. Deal." The others echoed, their voices ringing with conviction. Mary-Kate felt a warmth spread through her chest as they all linked hands, forming a circle of solidarity. She had never felt so connected to anyone before, and it filled her with a sense of purpose. As they released their hands, the group fell into a comfortable silence, watching the last rays of sunlight dance across the lake. Mary-Kate's heart swelled with a mix of hope and excitement for the future. She had found her tribe, and together, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. But as the evening air grew cooler, a shadow flickered at the edge of her mind. A nagging thought that whispered of the unresolved issues still lurking in her life. The clerk who had betrayed her, the anger that still simmered beneath the surface, and the fear of being hurt again. "Hey, Mary-Kate." Brad's voice broke through her thoughts.